So Kumo is a commentary YouTuber who has been getting attacked relentlessly throughout the past couple of days, and rightfully so, cause he has proven himself to be a complete manipulator, hypocrite and abuser. However, what a lot of people don't know is that back in 2021, when both me and Kumo had less than 100 subs, we were actually good friends, so much so that he actually featured on my channel. Well, we were friends until he distanced himself through his weird behavior, so I'm going to use this chance today and expose every dark thing I know about Kumo, including his behavior towards girls as young as 14, forcing people to cut themselves, and potential lies about his age and ethnicity. But before we get into it, I just want to quickly point out that YouTube Studio tells me that the majority of people watching this aren't actually subbed to the channel, so if you enjoy my content then please subscribe, because it would absolutely mean the world to me. Anyway, back to the video. Alright, so there's gonna be a good amount of people who have absolutely no idea what is going on, and I don't want these people to have to watch a 5-hour Chud Logic stream to figure out what is happening, so let me give a quick recap so everyone is on the same page. Essentially, this whole thing started with an art commentary YouTuber called Synnibear03 who is in her 20s. She got exposed on Twitter for having extremely inappropriate conversations with a 14-year-old. We're talking about openly sexual conversations and sending a ton of sexual content. There's an over 100-page long proof document on Twitter. I'll have that link below if you want to go over it, but essentially this Synnibear person has been clearly completely exposed as a predator, and her reputation was pretty much immediately shattered. Now, I will say that the person that exposed Synnibear, a content creator going by the name of Birdie, also ended up being rather untrustworthy and making questionable decisions. If you want to dive deeper into that, I recommend you watch the YouTuber HarleyTBS, because he made a great video about it, but I don't want that to be the focus of my video today, so I'm not gonna go into detail too much here, especially since the Synnibear person has literally immediately folded and admitted to grooming a minor in a public apology video.
I've been an irresponsible content creator, and I've been acting inappropriately towards my fans. This alone is enough for me to realize I need to make sweeping changes to how I conduct myself and how I interact with my fans. But the most serious thing I've done is I've groomed a minor. Nothing I do will ever make this right, but I want to make sure it never happens again. I'm sorry to everyone I've ever made uncomfortable with my sexual content. I'm sorry to the victim I groomed. I don't want to say their name, I want to protect their identity. I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm ashamed of myself for doing this and hurting everyone.
Even though Synnibear publicly admitted to grooming a minor and got bullied off the internet, Kumo, a commentary channel with 1k subs, for some reason started to publicly and privately defend Synni, with his entire argument being that what Synni did technically should not be considered grooming because she had no intent to meet up with a minor, and her actions towards the minor were merely misguided because of her severe autism. And already these are terrible arguments. Even if she had no intent to meet up with the 14-year-old, she's still out here actively holding extremely inappropriate conversations and sending pornographic images to them, and not to mention that she literally admitted to grooming a minor publicly. But luckily for Kumo, his arguments remained largely unheard, since he was just a small channel, so most people didn't even realize he was out here defending this until another YouTuber got involved. So Just a Robot is another commentary art channel who has been uploading commentary videos for over half a decade at this point, and he managed to completely destroy his reputation by also trying to defend Synni. Only that for Just a Robot, his main motivation ended up being his romantic interest in Synni. Leaked DMs showed Just a Robot making sexual advances and actively flirting with Synni, which is just like insane. Like, how down bad do you have to be to actively try and sleep with a woman who literally groomed a 14-year-old like 2 weeks prior? But yeah, predictably, this obviously destroyed Just a Robot's credibility and image. If you want to dive deeper into that, I recommend the Chud Logic videos on him, because Chud absolutely tore him apart. But what this also did as a side effect is shed more light on Kumo and his defending of Synni, and let's just say he did not take the criticism well. So let's talk about Kumo specifically. Kumo has always been a rather controversial person within the commentary community, with his most extreme controversy being that he talked one of his fans into cutting his name into their arm.
What should I cut into me?
My name.
Really?
Bestie.
Okay. I'll do it on cam. Hold on.
Do
Oh
a
my fucking
swastika.
god, she's actually
That'll be
going.
funny.
Now, I'm not gonna show the full clip here for obvious reasons, but I will have the censored version linked down below in case anyone thinks I'm making this up somehow. Anyway, so Kumo has always been known as someone that would directly get involved in drama and conflict. He almost never made videos where he objectively looked at a situation as an outsider, but instead he almost always actively got involved behind the scenes. Now, with this Synnibear situation, Kumo also ended up being exposed for his malicious behind-the-scenes actions. Allegedly, leaked screenshots show Kumo actively planning a response for Synnibear. They gave you high-grade narcotics while you were clearly in distress. You're a tiny woman, 100 pounds, soaking wet on a bad day, and you had THC in your system mixed with your antidepressants and very obvious poor mental state. You had zero dopamine in your system, so the obvious result was you were paranoid and anxious. You were declining mentally under the influence of drugs you shouldn't have been given. What Kumo is doing here is he is actively crafting a narrative to defend Synni. He's saying here, look, we'll claim that you were on drugs, that's why your behavior was erratic. This is believable, trust me. And even Synni was confused by this. I honestly can't believe that someone would actually be informed of a situation where a person grooms a minor and their reaction is to not only defend them publicly but also reach out privately to try and come up with an even better defense to justify their actions. And Kumo was really serious about this. He asked about details like the body fat percentage and height of the person who sold drugs to Synni to try and figure out whether his narrative could be believable, and that's just manipulation at its finest. Now, unfortunately, this isn't where Kumo's bad actions end, since as a response to this whole thing, Kumo's associates actually leaked a private call with Synni, and I for the life of me cannot believe that they actually thought it would make Kumo look good, because Kumo comes across as a complete sociopath in that call.
You lied to me saying that saying that you understood that it was probably not in the cards for you to get your fucking YouTube career back. You said you understood that, and yet with Jar behind the scenes, because he was giving you this false hope, you had a different face on with him entirely. That's why I'm upset at you, Synni. That's why I no longer want to be your friend, and that's why I no longer want to help you.
So since Just a Robot had been publicly ridiculed by Chud Logic for his support of Synnibear, Kumo decided to abandon his previous position of defending Synnibear. Keep in mind, he made multiple stubborn defense streams and publicly as well as privately supported her until this very point. But now he suddenly did a complete 180 on his position just because he found out that Synni actually had hoped to get her YouTube career back, as if that fucking changes anything. So let me get this straight. Synni sent pornographic images to a 14-year-old. She had extremely inappropriate sexual conversations with said minor, admitted to having groomed said minor, and as a cherry on top, she also apparently inappropriately touched her roommate. Now Kumo is willing to look past all of that, but after he found out that Synni was hoping to get her YouTube career back through Just a Robot defending her, that's where he suddenly draws the line and decides to insult her in a private call and switch sides completely. Like, how have you not had this position from the get-go? This extra information changes literally nothing. It's very clear to me that Kumo just saw that the tide was against Jar, and by extension him, and therefore he decided to switch up completely. And Kumo definitely hates Just a Robot for some reason. He might possibly be jealous of his relationship to Synni, even though I hope it's for another reason, but he definitely despises him considering he makes up serious allegations during this call.
Jar could have raped you, and that's probably what he was trying to, like, that was probably his dream, his end goal. You know, like, how could he get caught in a cheating scandal or dumped by his girlfriend if nobody will believe it ever happened? Nobody would believe it ever. Like, half of the people, if you came out and said he did that to you, half of the people wouldn't believe you. The other half would believe you, but they'd be like, no, I'm not going to give sympathy to a pedophile. You and any other woman he's ever spoken to is a sex object. Black people and people of color are just a token for him to weaponize and defend himself from any sort of assertion that he's like offensive or problematic.
Now these are some insane allegations to throw around like that, especially with no evidence, and already making up such baseless accusations tanks his credibility down to zero. But I just hope that he isn't doing this out of jealousy, because I do think that the take that Kumo was defending this groomer due to his romantic interest in her to be very terminally online. Because if Kumo did the exact same thing with a man, no one one would even remotely bring up that argument. Like with Jar, I understand it cause he did have some interesting conversations with Synni, but with Kumo I just think he wanted to be a contrarian, at least I hope that's the reason. But nevertheless, Kumo still comes across as a complete psychopath in these clips.
I don't know who to trust.
Or you don't?
And I don't know.
Do you even trust yourself?
No, honestly.
Oh, that's a damn shame.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
A lot is wrong with me. Did you guys goon together at all?
No, what the fuck?
He didn't make it like in your phone calls with him. You guys didn't do anything freaky.
I knew it. I know.
I don't care for the lip service. Might have worked before, and it might work on other people. Might have worked on other people in the past too. I don't want to hear it. There is literally nothing you can say to me that I'll believe.
Kumo is a complete sociopath in this clip. Keep in mind, for over a month now, Kumo had acted extremely friendly towards Synni both in public and in private, and defended her against all critics who were rightfully calling her out for grooming a minor. But now he switched up completely, and he's out here making fun of her relentlessly. Like, that change is so drastic and crazy that it's almost making me feel bad for the groomer, which is insane to think about.
Despite what people think, or despite, what I make people think, I'm a very forgiving person. I'm a very compassionate and empathetic person.
This is just something that I picked up on through my experience in the commentary community. If anyone comes at you claiming to be an empath or empathetic person, they're usually the complete opposite. They might as well straight up tell you that they're a sociopath, cause Kumo definitely came across as one in this video, especially cause he plays up his reaction to finding out new details about Synni so much. Like, his performance is honestly Oscar worthy.
No, we're done. We're done. We're done. No, I'm not. He said that so fucking coldly and clearly. Oh my god. I'm baffled. You asked her to read it, and you wanted her reaction. Do you know what that means?
Like, I wanted to see if she liked it or not.
Oh my god!
Just put the fries in the bag, dude. It's so obvious that he's pretending to be shocked by this crazy new information about Synnibear in order to save face online, when in reality he should just admit that he defended her wrongfully, apologize for that, and move on. But Kumo is just refusing to take the L here, and his acting is just so obviously scripted, it's painful to watch. And do you wanna know what this new information even was? Synni wanted to hear the reaction of the minor she sent pornographic images to. That's not even new information at all. Anyone could have deduced this the moment that Synni got exposed. Kumo is just pretending like this suddenly changes everything, when in reality he should have been going against Synni from the get-go. Now obviously people were calling Kumo out for his insane behavior in this call, and his response was to wrongfully copyright strike his critics for using his artwork in their thumbnails, which is yet another reason you should hate Kumo, especially considering his justification for fraudulently copyright striking is that it happened to him before, which is just fucking fantastic. He's essentially saying, yeah, I got assaulted before, that now justifies me running around assaulting people. And this is basically the end of Kumo, because after the news of the copyright strike dropped, more and more DMs leaked of Kumo just acting unhinged, like this one where I actively have to censor 5 different banned slurs, which is probably a record for his channel. And yeah, I mean, DMs like these leaking is definitely career ending. I don't think we'll hear anything from Kumo ever again, meaning it's the perfect time to talk about my personal experience with Kumo. But before we get into it, I just want to quickly point out that everything in the my experience with Kumo section is alleged, because I'm not a psychopath. I don't screenshot every single interaction I have, meaning that I don't have evidence for all my statements, so take everything here with a grain of salt. I don't want this to be some crazy new Kumo revelation video. I just want this to be my personal account of Kumo's behavior, considering I was the first person in the commentary community that he ever interacted with. So in early 2021 I was pretty active within the commentary community, probably the most active I have ever been apart from right now, but I was still pretty unknown considering I only had around like 60 subs at the time. But then another creator with less than 100 subs reached out to me, a person going by the name of Kumo San, and Kumo would end up becoming the first other creator that I actively was in contact with, and obviously I was the first other person Kumo got into contact with. At the time we even featured each other on our channels. Kumo is literally only one of 2 people that ever appeared on my channel. Now Kumo and me got particularly particularly close once I got into drama in March of 2021. Now, I don't want to dive too much into it, but essentially I called out a bigger commentary channel for actively stealing my artwork and thumbnails. In retaliation, he and 2 other larger channels tried to silence me. Now, I'm not gonna go any further than that because I don't want to bring up this old stuff, since all 3 people attacking me have publicly apologized, so I don't want to like bring all of this up again. But the main point of the whole thing was that these 3 bigger YouTubers tried to silence me, which led a lot of other commentary channels to make videos defending me, with one of these people being Kumo. Now, this is what really caused Kumo and me to be close, because I really appreciated Kumo going out on a limb to defend me for this, and this led to me and him talking on Discord, I'd say like every week or every 2 weeks maybe. Now, the first interesting thing that I experienced with Kumo was that after we called out the bigger channel for stealing thumbnails, that channel still refused to back down and kept his videos using my thumbnails up. So essentially, me and the people in my corner resorted to the only option left: copyright strike the videos using my artwork, and that actually did work because YouTube sided with me, and this led to the person stealing my thumbnails and his 2 supporters apologizing. Now, the interesting part here was that out of all the people that publicly supported me during this drama, Kumo was the only person that opposed copyright striking as a last resort. He claimed that under no circumstance should he ever copyright strike someone, which is quite ironic looking at things now. But anyway, that's how me and Kumo got close, and we talked like every once in a while, and at some point I noticed that all he ever talked about were other YouTubers and how he planned on quote-unquote destroying them. Like, there was a time where literally all he would talk about all day was how he hated this other commentary YouTuber called Communist Creeper, who by the way was 15 at the time, yet he defended people drawing pornographic images of him, which again is quite ironic knowing what we do know now. But on the other hand, I was just out here trying to talk about like YouTube shit with one of the only people I knew at the time, so I usually tried to like move the conversation away from YouTube drama, but he always found a way to like bring everything back to the small commentary community, which did get annoying at times. But when I did manage to get him to talk about something else, none of what he was saying matches up with what he's doing and claiming today, because in 2021 Kumo claimed to be like a 15 or 16-year-old black guy, but now 3 years later I'm hearing people say that Kumo claims to be in his early 20s when he should be like 19 at most. And also he only uses this white avatar of himself and stopped saying the N-word, and anyone that knew Kumo in 2021 can confirm this, by the way. Homie would drop the N-bomb like in every sentence, meaning that if he's now claiming to be white, then he definitely lied about his ethnicity at some point, which is quite strange for someone to be lying about their basic identity, but it does match up with Kumo's character, considering he would always be in like voice calls with tons of people in his Discord, but he was always the one never showing his face. Meanwhile, he talked everyone else into using cameras. The only reason I was never on cam is because I straight up had no webcam, but everyone else basically had to be. I mean, this is just my account, and I really wish that I could dig up any proof for this, but unfortunately Kumo has deleted his old Discord server and account, so I guess you can choose to believe me here or not, but Kumo had the weirdest, creepiest Discord calls with people you could possibly imagine. Now, during 2021 I was really busy. I didn't really have time to be on Discord with him that much. I pretty much only talked to him every 2 weeks, but sometimes when I did have time to talk, I actually sort of interrupted him in his usual calls, and the shit that was going on in these calls, my god. Like, one time I hopped into a call with Kumo, and when I joined, the third person on call was literally like a half-naked girl, and she looked like she was at most like 14 years old, so I immediately confronted Kumo about this in a private call, and he explained to me that this was totally normal. He was just flirting with a 14-year-old, he's 16, that's totally normal in the US. It's like a freshman dating a junior, and in my head I was like, any junior dating a freshman is a complete loser, but he basically talked me into accepting it because he said, well, it's normal on the internet and Discord, that's just how people flirt online, and I have never been in an online relationship, and I never really understood how Discord works. I mean, I still don't know now, so I bought that explanation like an idiot, and I feel so stupid for just believing him like that, because I almost feel like I could have done something. I wanted to do something, but he convinced me that everything was perfectly normal, when in reality that motherfucker was probably lying about his age. He was probably about to like sex call with a 14-year-old, possibly younger, because she did really look extremely young. She looked like 13 to me, all while Kumo might have been way older than 16 at the time, and I caught him in the act, and then I fucking believed his explanations instead of grilling him. It really pisses me off retrospectively, because he definitely like video called with her again just without my knowledge, and I do really feel embarrassed that I believed him. I really feel like if I was just more confident in my initial assessment of the situation, I would have been able to stop anything from happening, and I really feel like I could have done something, but I guess it was just a tough call to make for me, because I have just not had like any online friendships like ever. Because I would be just like not online for maybe like 6 or 8 months at a time, so it never made like sense to me to go and try and be friends with people online. So the stuff with Kumo felt so like new and refreshing to me that I probably gave him way more trust than I should have. And I wish that I had any fucking proof for Kumo's Discord shenanigans, but I never like recorded any of Kumo's weird calls, because I was like, oh, this is my friend Kumo who publicly defended me in his YouTube videos. Why would I distrust him when in reality that guy has always been a terrible person? The worst part about this is because I don't use Discord often, I only have like 30 friends on there, and I have had the same account since 2019. I actually had a really close associate of Kumo in my friend list, and like 2 or 3 weeks ago I randomly cleared most of my friends on there, and I was like, why would I need this friend of Kumo's here if me and Kumo don't even talk anymore? So I cleared her out of my friend list, and that's just such bad timing, because she would have been able to confirm a lot of the shit I'm saying here. So if you're watching this, you know who you are, please reach out to me. But yeah, Kumo would get up to the weirdest shit in his now deleted Discord server, and I wish that I was around more at the time, because I maybe would have caught him committing some more disturbing actions, and that's also why it didn't surprise me at all that he talked someone into cutting his name into their arm. Like, that's typical Kumo behavior to me. And by the way, my quote-unquote friendship with Kumo only lasted like 3 months, because in like June of 2021 I told him that my final year of high school is gonna come up and I gotta focus on that, so I won't be making videos for quite some time. And after I told him that, his behavior completely changed. Like, before I was able to sometimes talk to him normally and about YouTube stuff, but after I basically told him that I would have to take a break and that I obviously wouldn't want to sit here and listen to him rant about Comedy Creeper all day, he just discarded me outright. Kumo basically told me that if I don't make videos and grow on YouTube with him, then I am of no use to him, so he like banned and blocked me everywhere, which kind of really tells you where his priorities lie. I mean, it wasn't like me and Kumo were best buddies or anything, but I did, I guess, somewhat consider him a friend. But the second I had no time for making content and growing on YouTube with him, he just absolutely did not care one bit anymore about me, which honestly just makes me believe that he hoped to be associated with a YouTuber that blows up, and when he saw that due to my IRL stress I won't be blowing up anytime soon, he just left. That's probably why I still haven't like made friends with any people online, because the interaction with Kumo in particular kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So anyway, that is my personal experience with Kumo. This guy got up to the weirdest shit in Discord calls, he directly lied to my face about those calls, he completely abandoned me after I told him about my perfectly reasonable break from YouTube, he lied about his basic identity probably, and he would also like schizo ramble about other YouTubers for multiple hours, and yeah, he just ended up straight up being a bad person in my opinion. So I am very glad that people are finally calling him out. And yeah, that's gonna be it with the video. Please follow me on Twitter, subscribe if you haven't already, drop a like on this video, comment your opinion, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.